Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine standing in a beautiful crowded room.
Oh, that's a very common situation.
Right. You do not know anyone in this room. Everyone around you is talking, laughing, and, well, smiling.
Just having a great time.
Exactly. Then a friendly person walks right up to you. They look you in the eyes, smile, and say, "Hello. Tell me about yourself."
Oh, wow. For many people learning a new language, that is a very scary moment.
It really is. Your heart might start to beat very fast. Your hands might feel cold.
Yeah, your mind might go completely blank.
Like looking at an empty piece of white paper. You have a pen in your hand, but you do not know which word to write first. You might just want to turn around and run out of the door.
That is a very powerful image. And, it is a very common feeling.
It really happens to everyone.
It does. It feels like you are suddenly taking a very big test. You might feel a heavy pressure to speak perfectly.
Oh, pressure is so heavy.
Right. You might feel that if you make one small grammar mistake, or if you use the wrong word, you will fail the test completely.
Like there is no middle ground.
Exactly. We think it must be perfect or it will be terrible, but conversation is never a test. It is simply a bridge between two people.
I completely agree with you. It is a scary moment because the question is so big. Tell me about yourself. Has no clear boundaries.
It's too wide.
Yeah. But today, we are going to change that feeling completely. So welcome to our deep dive, everyone.
We are so happy you are here.
Today, we have a very special mission. We are looking at a wonderful instructional guide. It is a script from a popular language program called the English Cafe.
A really great resource.
The text is called Talking About Yourself in English. And when we read this guide, that empty piece of white paper suddenly becomes very easy to fill.
It really does. The guide changes everything because it shifts our focus.
How so?
Well, it shows us that we do not need to be perfect dictionaries. We just need to offer simple, true pieces of information to the other person.
Yes, simple pieces. We want to speak directly to you, the listener. We know that learning English, or any new language, can feel like carrying a heavy backpack up a tall mountain.
It can feel very overwhelming.
Right. There are so many words, so many rules, and so many sounds to remember.
Too many things to hold in your head at once.
But today, you can put the heavy backpack down. We are going to speak slowly. We are going to use clear, simple words.
Step by step.
Yes, we will take this journey step by step together. We are going to take that big, scary question and break it down into simple, easy building blocks.
Building blocks are the perfect way to think about this. If you watch a child playing with small wooden blocks, they do not try to build the roof of the house first.
No, that would fall down.
Exactly. They put one simple block on the floor, then they place another block right next to it.
And then another one.
Right. And before long, they have built a beautiful, strong house. Language works in the exact same way.
So you don't need huge words.
No, you do not need complex sentences to start. You just need to know how to place the first block.
So let us look at the absolute foundation of our house. Before we can tell people the complex stories of our lives, we must start with the most basic facts.
Who we are.
Exactly. Who we are and where we come from. The guide from the English Cafe features two friendly characters named Anna and Leo. They act as our teachers today.
And they begin with the very first sound you should make your name.
Our name is our most important sound. Anna and Leo show us two different roads we can take to share our name.
Two different choices.
Yeah. The first road is very classic. Leo says, "My name is Leo." It is three clear words. My name is.
This structure is taught in every beginner classroom around the world. It is very clear and everyone will always understand it.
It is very safe. But then Anna shows us the second road. It is slightly different. She simply says, "I'm Anna."
Yes.
She uses two words. She takes the words I am and pushes them together to make one short sound. I am.
Yeah, I'm Anna. I'm Leo. The guide makes a point to tell us why this second road is special. Anna explains that using I'm is short and it sounds very friendly.
I want to look closely at that choice. We are choosing between formality and accessibility. My name feels a little bit formal, maybe a little bit stiff.
A bit like a robot sometimes.
Right? But I'm feels like you are opening your arms to the person. However, I want to ask about the rules of the business world.
That is a fair question.
Many learners worry about being too casual. If someone is walking into a very serious job interview at a bank and they are meeting the president of the company.
Very scary.
Yeah. Is I'm too informal Should they use the longer, stiffer sentence?
Well, that is a very natural worry. When we are nervous, we often want to use the most formal language possible to show respect.
Right, to be polite.
But in modern English, I'm is perfectly acceptable in almost every situation.
Really? Even at a bank?
Even at a bank. The source material highlights I'm because being friendly is actually a professional skill.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. In English-speaking cultures, whether you are at a casual party or a serious business meeting, starting with a warm, positive tone is highly valued. It makes the space feel comfortable.
So it isn't rude.
Not at all. It does not show disrespect. It simply sounds natural and confident.
That is a very comforting thought. It takes the pressure off the learner. You do not need to memorize a special formal greeting for the bank and a different greeting for the coffee shop.
No, just one key.
Exactly. You can just carry I'm with you everywhere.
Right.
Place that first block. I'm David. I'm Sarah. Now, what happens right after we share our name? The conversation must keep moving.
The very next step is sharing our origins. The other person wants to know where your story began.
Where you were from.
Right. The guide gives us very clear patterns for this second building block.
Leo gives us the first pattern. He says, I am from Italy. The structure is I am from, followed by the name of the country.
This is very straightforward. I am from the United States. I am from Japan. I am from Brazil. The word from creates a line that connects you to your home map.
But the guide also offers an alternative. We do not always have to use the word from. We can use an adjective instead of a place name.
Yes. Leo shows this by saying, I am Italian. Italian is the nationality.
Right.
Anna follows the same pattern. She says, I am American.
So a learner has two choices. I am from Italy or I am Italian. They do the exact same job in the conversation.
They both share the origin story perfectly.
But the source material does something very smart right after this. It recognizes that human lives are complicated. We do not always stay in the place where we were born.
No, movement is a huge part of the modern world. People travel for school, they travel for work, or, they travel for love.
So true. The guide knows that many learners are studying English because they have moved to a new country.
Exactly.
So how do we explain this movement simply? If you try to translate a complex thought like, I was born in one place, but due to my career, I relocated to another.
Oh, that is too hard.
Way too hard for a beginner.
But Leo gives us a beautiful, simple solution. He connects two simple blocks with the word but.
Okay.
He says, I am from Italy, but I live in London now.
Let us listen to the rhythm of that sentence. I am from Italy, but I live in London now. It tells a whole story in just a few seconds.
It really does.
The first half is the history, the home country, the past, I am from. The second half is the reality right now, the present, I live in.
Anna practices this structure as well. She mentions she lives in New York. The rule provided by the text is extremely clear and useful.
What is the rule?
You use I'm from for your original home, and you use I live in for the city where you sleep every night right now.
This reminds me of creating a personal document. This first stage of the conversation is very much like handing the other person an audio ID card.
An audio ID card. That is a very accurate way to picture it.
Think about a physical identity card in your wallet. It does not contain your deep secrets or your life philosophy.
No, just the facts.
Right. It contains a small picture of your face, your legal name, and your home address. By sharing our name and our location using these simple English phrases, we are painting that same picture in the air using our voice.
We are giving the listener the safety of knowing the basic facts about us.
And there is one more piece of data that usually sits on a physical ID card.
Yeah.
It is your date of birth or your age.
Yes, age.
The text addresses this topic next. Anna demonstrates by saying, I am 30 years old. Leo adds, I am 32.
The math part of this is simple. You say, I am, then your number, and then the phrase years old.
But the guide does not just teach the math. It stops and gives a reader a very serious warning.
What's fascinating here is the cultural note included in the source material. Anna actually asks Leo a direct question about this. She asks if it is okay to say, how old are you, to someone you just met in an English-speaking environment.
And Anna provides the answer to her own question. She warns the listener, in some cultures it is okay. In others, it is a bit private.
This is a profound moment in the lesson.
Why is that?
Why does a basic language guide stop to talk about privacy? Because it highlights a truth about learning a language. You are not just learning a new vocabulary list.
You are learning a new culture.
Exactly. You are learning how people in a different part of the world think and feel. You have to navigate their cultural comfort zones, not just their grammar rules.
I think we should explore this idea deeply. What does it mean when the text says age is a bit private? Why is asking about age dangerous in some English-speaking cultures?
It connects to how different societies view getting older. In many cultures around the world, age brings immense respect.
Right.
Asking someone their age is a way of showing honor. You want to know their age so you can use the correct, respectful words with them. But in many Western English-speaking cultures, the focus is heavily on youth.
Yes, there is a constant push to stay young, to look young, and to have the energy of a young person.
Exactly. And because of this, many adults feel a quiet anxiety about getting older. Furthermore, in the workplace, there can sometimes be unfairness related to age. Companies sometimes want younger workers.
So it's a sensitive topic.
Very sensitive. Because of all these complex reasons, asking an adult, "How old are you?" can feel like a sudden attack. It can make them feel uncomfortable, embarrassed, or judged.
So it is best to avoid it.
Yes. It is not illegal to ask, but it is certainly not the best way to make a warm connection with a stranger.
So as a learner, it is best to leave that block out of your house, unless the other person brings it up first. However, the guide does provide one exception. It notes that asking age is very common in a classroom.
That is true, because context changes everything. In a language classroom, you are practicing numbers.
Everyone knows you're just learning.
Right. Everyone in the room knows that you are just a student trying to learn the word for 30 or 40. There is no judgment. It is a safe zone. But once you leave the classroom and go to a real party or a real office, you must remember the cultural rule. Skip the age question.
This is such helpful advice. It protects the learner from making a social mistake. So let us look at our completed audio ID card. We know how to share our name with a friendly tone using I'm. We know how to tell our origin story and how to explain if we have moved to a new city.
Check.
And we know the cultural safety rules about age.
We have a very solid, strong foundation. Leo shows us how this foundation looks when it is all put together. He says, "I am Leo. I am from Italy. I am 32 years old."
It sounds so clean. It is very easy for any listener to process. But handing over an ID card only takes 10 seconds. The party is still happening.
The conversation must continue.
Right. Once people know the basic facts of who you are, their brains naturally want to know what you do. We must move from identity to action.
Yes. How do you spend the hours of your day? This brings us to the next stage of our interaction, and to one of the most famous questions in the English language.
Leo introduces this question in the text. He calls it the big question. The phrase is, what do you do?
What do you do? This is a fascinating group of words. If a beginner learner takes out their dictionary and translates this question word by word into their native language, they will likely be very confused.
Let us imagine that situation. A beginner learner is standing at a party. They're holding a small plate of food. Someone walks up to them and asks, what do you do?
The learner might think, well, look at me. Right now, I am standing, I am breathing, I am holding a plate.
Exactly. They might think the person is asking about their physical action in that exact second.
That is a very logical way to translate it. But the guide quickly prevents this confusion. Leo explains the hidden meaning. He says, this means your job or your activity.
It is so important for learners to understand this. What do you do is an idiom. It is a cultural phrase.
Right. The full invisible sentence is really, what do you do with your time every day to earn money or to build your life? It is the standard Western way of asking about your profession.
And the guide gives us the exact structure we need to answer this big question. The structure uses the simple phrase, I am a, or I am in.
Let us look at the examples provided by Anna and Leo. Anna says, I'm an English teacher and a podcaster. Leo says, I'm a graphic designer.
The formula is very steady. Use I am, then the small article a or an, and then the title of your job.
Very simple. But I noticed that Leo does something extra. He does not just give his job title. He adds a second sentence.
What does he say?
He says, I make websites and logos look beautiful. I think this is a fantastic strategy for learners.
It is a brilliant communication strategy. Why do you think it is so helpful?
Because job titles can be confusing. Even native speakers do not always know what every job title means.
That is so true. If you say, I am a logistics coordinator, the other person might just nod politely because they do not understand.
Exactly. But if you add a simple action sentence like Leo did, the picture becomes clear. I make websites look beautiful. Everyone understands a beautiful website. It gives the listener a clear image in their mind.
It also gives the listener something easy to respond to. They can say, oh, I love beautiful websites. What colors do you like to use? You are handing them a topic to keep the conversation alive.
The source material is very thorough here. It knows that not everyone listening works in an office or a studio. Many language learners are in a different stage of life.
Right.
Anna asks a very practical question in the text. What if our listeners are students?
Leo provides the fundamental building block for this situation. He says simply, I am a student.
It is honest and clear. But just like with the job titles, a learner can add more color to this statement. Leo explains that students can add the subject they are learning.
He gives examples like, I study engineering, or I am an economics student.
Here we see the building blocks working together again. You lay down the first block, I am a student. Then you place the specific detail block right on top of it. I study engineering.
This immediately makes you an interesting person to talk to. The other person can ask about the math or the bridges you want to build.
The guide also teaches us how to describe the physical place where we spend our days. Sometimes telling someone where you go every morning is just as important as telling them your job title.
Anna gives us 2 phrases to practice this. She says, I work in an office. And she also says, I work at a hospital.
In an office. At a hospital. These sentences contain small prepositions. In and at. Prepositions are often the most frustrating part of learning English. Learners worry endlessly about whether to use in, on, or at.
It causes so much stress. But the beauty of this guide is that it does not stop to teach a long, confusing grammar lesson about prepositions. It just gives the learner the complete block.
You don't need to overthink it.
Exactly. You do not need to analyze why it is in an office. You just memorize the whole phrase together. I work in an office. It is a ready-to-use piece of language.
And then the guide does something that I think is truly special. It shows a deep level of emotional intelligence and empathy for the learner.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Let's look closely at the next part of the text. The guide provides sentences for people who do not have a traditional paying job right now.
Yes. Anna introduces a sentence for a very common life situation. She says, I am looking for a job. But she does not stop there. She immediately adds a comforting phrase. She says, that means you don't have a job right now, and that's okay.
And that's okay. I want to highlight how powerful those words are. When a person is unemployed, when they are spending their days sending resumes and not getting answers,
It can be a very painful time.
it really can. If they go to a party and someone asks the big question, what do you do? They might feel a rush of shame. They might feel embarrassed to say they do not have a job.
Shame is the enemy of language learning. If you feel embarrassed about your life, you will stay quiet. You will not practice your English. You will hide.
Yes, you will hide in the corner of the room.
The text understands this psychological barrier by saying that's okay. The text validates this life stage. It reminds the learner that looking for work is a normal, active process. It is an acceptable answer. You can stand tall, look the person in the eye, and say, I am looking for a job.
It gives the learner permission to be honest without feeling small. And the text continues this validation with another extremely important role in society. Leo brings up the situation of parents who stay home. He mentions being a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home dad.
And Leo makes a very strong statement about this role. He says, that is a very big job.
This is so important because society sometimes sends the wrong message. Sometimes people feel that if they do not receive a paycheck from a boss, they are not doing anything.
Which is completely untrue.
Anyone who has cared for children knows it is the hardest work in the world. The guide empowers learners to own their reality. It tells them that raising a family is a massive job. They can say, I am a stay-at-home parent with total pride.
Language education should always build confidence. It should give you the tools to express your true life proudly. This guide does exactly that.
Now let us pause and look at what we have constructed so far. We have gathered the ID card facts, the name, the location, the age. And we have gathered the action facts, the job, the studies, the search for work. What happens when we stack these blocks together?
Anna demonstrates this magic for us. She connects all the simple pieces into one flow.
When you read her paragraph aloud, I want everyone listening to notice the rhythm. Anna says, Hi, I'm Anna. I'm from the US and I live in New York. I'm 30 and I'm an English teacher.
Leo reacts to this by saying, see, that sounds so natural.
It really does. And if you look closely at the words, there's not a single difficult vocabulary word in that entire paragraph. Every sentence is short. Every concept is simple.
There is no advanced academic language.
No. But when these simple blocks are connected smoothly, the result is a highly professional, highly friendly, complete introduction.
This breaks a very common myth about fluency. Many learners believe that to sound fluent, they must use long, complicated words and speak incredibly fast.
That is such a huge myth.
Right. But true fluency is often just the ability to connect simple blocks without hesitation. It is about smooth transitions, not complex vocabulary.
That is a revelation for a beginner. You do not need to read a massive dictionary to sound good. You just need to practice your simple blocks until they feel comfortable in your mouth.
So we have successfully built our public identity. We have explained our location and our work. The conversation is going well. What is the next direction we take?
The conversation must move inward. We are going to shift away from the public world of offices and cities and step into the private world of the home. We are going to talk about the people and creatures we love. We are talking about family and pets.
This represents the inner circle. Discussing family is a universal human experience. No matter where you travel in the world, people love to talk about their families.
Anna begins this new topic by asking Leo a simple question. Do you have a big family? This is a wonderful, easy question to memorize.
It's a great tool.
If the conversation ever gets quiet, you can always ask, do you have a big family? And the talking will start again.
The guide provides excellent descriptive words to answer this question. We learn how to describe the scale of our family. You can have a big family, a medium-sized family, or a small family.
Anna answers her own question by saying, I have a medium-sized family. But she does not just give the size. She adds specific details. She says, I have one sister and one brother.
And she adds even more color to paint the picture. She explains what they do. My sister is a nurse, and my brother is still in school.
This is a brilliant moment of recycling. Anna uses the exact same tools we learned in the job section.
Oh, that's true.
She takes is a nurse and is in school and attaches them to her siblings. This shows the learner that the building blocks are reusable. You do not need to learn entirely new grammar to talk about your family's jobs. You just use the old blocks in a new room.
Leo shares a very different family picture. He answers, I have a small family. It's just me and my younger brother.
He also adds a fun descriptive detail. He says, he is much taller than me.
I love that detail.
These small details are the secret to a good conversation. Saying, I have a brother is a fact. Saying, he is much taller than me creates a funny picture in the listener's mind. It makes the interaction memorable.
But the guide does not stop with human relatives. Anna introduces another category of family that is intensely important in many cultures.
Yes, the pets. Anna says, and what about pets? Pets are part of the family too.
Bringing animals into an introduction is a fantastic strategy. Talking about pets almost always makes people smile. It lowers the stress level of the room. People love to share stories about their animals.
Leo answers by declaring his animal loyalty. He says he is a dog person.
This is a very common cultural idiom in Western societies. Being a dog person means you naturally prefer the company and energy of dogs over other animals.
Leo explains his choice by describing his pet. He says, I have a golden retriever. His name is Buddy. He is very energetic.
Let us paint that picture.
A golden retriever is a very popular large dog with beautiful golden hair. And the word energetic means the dog has a lot of power. The dog loves to run, jump, and play all day long. This tells us a little bit about Leo's lifestyle. He probably spends time outside.
In contrast, Anna declares that she is a cat person.
She describes her pets by saying, I have 2 cats. They are very quiet, and they love to sleep on my laptop when I'm working.
That is such a relatable image for anyone who has worked from home with a cat. The cat always finds the warm computer keyboard. It is a funny, specific detail that brings your introduction to life.
Now, as we look at all these wonderful stories about tall brothers, energetic dogs, and sleeping cats, I want to pull back the curtain. Hidden inside this fun section is one of the most powerful grammar tools in the entire English language.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, we see that this part of the guide is secretly a masterclass on a single verb. The verb is to have, H-A-V-E.
The source text actually lists the target sentences out clearly for the learner to study. I have a big family. I have 2 brothers. I have a pet. I don't have any pets.
Anna explicitly states the lesson. She tells the listener, using I have is very useful here. I have a brother. I have a dog. Simple and clear.
I want to use an analogy to explain why this verb is so special. Learning the phrase I have is like receiving a master key to a massive building.
That is a perfect way to describe it. A normal key only opens one door, but a master key opens every door in the building.
Exactly. Imagine a huge house with many locked doors down a long hallway. Behind each door is a different conversation topic. If a learner only memorizes the noun dog, They're just standing in the hallway looking at the dog door.
They cannot enter the conversation.
Right. But when they learn the master key, the two words, I have, everything changes.
Because they can use that exact same key on almost every door.
Yes. You put the key in the lock. I have. Turn the key.
A sister.
You are now in the family conversation room.
I see.
You walk to the next door. Put the key in. I have. Turn the key. A car. Now you are in the transportation room. You can use it for physical objects. I have a blue shirt. You can use it for feelings and states of being. I have a headache, or I have a question. It is one tiny, simple tool that unlocks 100 different worlds of communication.
The guide focuses heavily on I have, because it gives the beginner immense power very quickly. Instead of struggling to learn 50 complex verbs for different situations, a beginner can rely on the master key. If you master I am and I have, you can express almost any basic thought.
So, we have used our master key to open the family and pet doors. We have shared our inner circle. The other person now knows where we live, what we do for work, and who is waiting for us at home.
It's a very complete picture so far.
Now we are ready to move to the next layer. The source material calls this section Hobbies and Interests. It also gives it a better name. The fun stuff.
This title makes a lot of sense. The earlier topics, family and jobs, are often things we are born into, or things we must do simply to survive and pay the rent. But our hobbies, the things we choose to do in our free time, those represent true freedom.
Yes, our hobbies show our pure personality. This is where your introduction gets its unique flavor. This is where you show the world what makes your heart happy.
Anna starts the section with another great question to memorize. She asks, what do you do in your free time, Leo?
The text provides 3 reliable starting blocks to answer this question. Listeners can choose whichever one feels best in their mouth.
In my free time, I like to.
My hobby is...
I'm interested in.
These are 3 excellent launch pads.
Yeah.
And the characters give us vibrant examples of how to complete these sentences.
Leo shares his passion. He says, I love cooking. I make a mean lasagna.
We should definitely explain that specific phrase to our listeners. I make a mean lasagna. The word mean usually describes someone who is unkind or angry. He's not saying his food is angry.
Right. In this very specific casual slang, saying I make a mean something means I make a very, very excellent something. His lasagna is famous. It is delicious.
It is a great piece of natural vocabulary. Leo continues describing his free time. He says, and I also like hiking in the mountains. It's so peaceful.
Hiking. Walking on dirt trails, climbing up into the high hills or mountains. He contrasts the hard physical work of hiking with the mental result. It is peaceful. It gives him quiet time.
Anna has very different interests. She says, I love photography. I like taking pictures of the city.
Photography shows she is observant. She looks at the details, the buildings, and the people, and she adds another hobby. And I also love reading mystery books.
Yes.
Mystery books are those thrilling stories where a crime happens and the reader has to guess who did it before the end of the book.
So if we look at this list, we have cooking, hiking, photography, and reading. These are all very positive activities. They are things that bring joy. It makes perfect sense to talk about joy when meeting someone new. But this is where the guide takes a very surprising and very psychological turn.
Yes, it does. Anna suddenly introduces a new concept. She says, let's talk about likes and dislikes too. It helps people know your personality.
We all understand a like, but a dislike is something that annoys you, something you hate.
This raises an important question in my mind. Why does an instructional guide, a guide that is designed to help learners be friendly and make a good impression, explicitly teach them how to complain? Shouldn't a beginner only say positive, happy things when they are trying to make friends?
It is a brilliant question. The answer reveals a deep understanding of human psychology. But let us look at the examples from the text first to see how they do it.
Okay. Leo shares his feelings. He says, I love coffee, but I really don't like cold weather. That's why I like summer.
And Anna shares her own contrast. She says, I love the rain. I find it very cozy, but I hate seafood. I can't stand the smell.
The phrase, I can't stand the smell, is very strong. It means the smell makes her feel sick. She really dislikes it.
So let us return to your question. Why share a negative feeling? Anna actually explains the theory in the text. She says, when you share a like and a dislike, you become more real to the other person. It's a great way to make friends.
You become more real. Let us think about the mechanics of that idea.
Let us use an analogy. Think about a perfect plastic doll in a toy store. The doll has a perfect painted smile. It never complains. It is never cold. It is never tired. But a plastic doll cannot be your true friend. Human beings are messy.
We really are.
We have strong opinions. We love certain things deeply, and we are annoyed by other things. When you share a small, harmless dislike, like hating freezing snow or hating the smell of fish, you show a crack in the perfect armor. You show vulnerability.
I see. If you only say happy, perfect things, the other person might think you are wearing a mask. But when you admit a small annoyance, you take the mask off. You show you're a real, breathing human being.
Exactly. And in psychology, showing this small vulnerability builds trust much faster than pretending everything is perfect.
I have actually experienced this in real life. I have noticed that sometimes complaining together about a shared dislike is the absolute fastest way to bond with a stranger.
Can you give an example of how that happens?
Imagine you are standing at a bus stop. It is raining heavily, the wind is blowing, and it is very cold. A stranger is standing next to you, also waiting for the bus.
Okay, I can picture it.
If you turn to them and say a positive sentence like, "I love the color of the bus stop," they might just nod slowly and think you are strange. But if you turn to them and share a safe dislike, if you say, "I really hate cold weather," what happens?
The stranger will probably look at you, smile with relief, and say, "Me too, I hate it. I wish it was summer."
Exactly. Suddenly, you are a team. You are two friends fighting against the cold rain together. You have created an instant tribal bond over a shared complaint. Sharing a small, safe dislike creates a powerful human connection. It proves to the other person that you are not just a student reciting sentences from a textbook. You are a real person with a real personality.
And we must note that the guide chooses its dislikes very carefully. Hating cold weather or hating seafood is incredibly safe. It is not political. It is not insulting to anyone's family. It is just a harmless, funny fact about your body's preferences. It invites the other person to say, "Oh, I love seafood," and then you can laugh about the difference.
So we have gathered every single block we need. We have the ID card with our name and location. We have the action blocks with our jobs and studies. We have unlocked the inner circle to show our family and pets. And we have added our unique flavor by sharing our hobbies and our funny dislikes. Our pockets are completely full of building blocks.
We have all the materials. But having the materials is not enough. We now reach the final part of our deep dive. The source material refers to this as tips and conclusion. This is where the guide teaches us how to actually build the house in front of an audience.
Yes, how do we take these blocks out of our pockets and deliver them smoothly in the real world when our heart is beating fast?
Leo begins this final stage by offering a quick mental review. He gives the listeners a simple checklist to ensure they have all the parts of a complete introduction.
Let us walk through that checklist together. It's good to lock it into our memory. Number 1 is name. Number 2 is location, where you are from or where you live. Number 3 is job or study, what you do. Number 4 is family or pets, who you love. Number 5 is hobbies and likes, what brings you joy.
That is the complete recipe. 5 simple ingredients that create a perfect social dish.
But knowing the ingredients is only half the battle. Anna then delivers what she calls her biggest tip for listeners. And I truly believe this might be the most important sentence in the entire guide.
I agree with you completely. It is the heart of the lesson.
Anna tells the listener, don't try to be perfect. It is okay if you make a small mistake. The most important thing is to be friendly and smile.
Don't try to be perfect. Think back to the beginning of our deep dive. We talked about the paralyzing fear of the empty white paper, the fear of failing the big grammar test. With that one sentence, Anna destroys the test completely. She removes the heavy weight from the learner's shoulders.
And Leo follows her advice with an incredibly profound observation about human nature. Leo says, people don't remember your grammar. They remember how you made them feel.
People don't remember your grammar. Let us really analyze that truth. When you go to a party and you meet 5 new people and then you go home to your bed, what is in your mind? Do you lay in bed and write down their verb tenses in a notebook?
Absolutely not. I never lay in bed and think, wow, that man by the food table used the present continuous tense flawlessly, but he missed an article.
My brain does not record the grammar.
Exactly. What your brain records is the emotional energy. You remember if the person had a warm smile. You remember if they looked you in the eye. You remember if they seemed genuinely happy to share space with you. They remember how you made them feel. This is the core truth of communication. Emotions are contagious. If you are standing there, tense, afraid, and frozen because you are searching your brain for the perfect preposition, the other person will feel your tension. They will feel uncomfortable too.
Because they can see you are stressed.
Right. But if you stand there, take a breath, smile warmly, and accept that you might say, in a hospital instead of at a hospital, the other person feels your relaxed energy. They relax with you.
This concept shifts the entire purpose of learning English. The ultimate goal is no longer perfect technical accuracy. The goal becomes genuine human connection.
This lowers the anxiety for a beginner so dramatically. Your job in a conversation is not to act like a printed grammar dictionary. Your job is to be a friendly, open human being. If you make a mistake, you just smile and keep going.
The guide also provides one final, highly practical tip about how to deliver your introduction. It is about understanding your environment.
Yes, Anna advises the listener, think about who you are talking to.
This is a vital skill. We have memorized 5 categories of building blocks, but you do not need to pull out every single block every time you meet someone. You have to read the room.
Anna gives us 2 clear scenarios. She says, if you are at a job interview, talk more about your work.
This makes perfect logical sense. A job interviewer is a specific audience with a specific need. They want to evaluate your professional skills. They want to know that you are a graphic designer who makes websites beautiful. They need to know your education. They probably do not need to know that your 2 cats sleep on your laptop or that you make a mean lasagna. Not right away, at least.
But then Anna contrasts that with the second scenario. She says, if you are at a party, talk more about your hobbies and your dog.
Exactly. If you are standing next to the music at a fun party and you spend 10 minutes talking deeply about the logistics of your office job, the other person might get bored. That is the time to bring out the fun blocks. People at a party want to hear about your energetic golden retriever, or the mystery books you were reading, or your hatred of cold weather.
You must adapt to the room. You carry all 5 blocks in your pocket at all times, but you act like a DJ. You choose the right blocks to play for the specific crowd in front of you.
So what does this all mean for our learner listening today? How do we summarize this journey?
So what does this all mean? It means that mastering the art of introducing yourself in English is not about memorizing 1,000 words. It is about taking a few simple, strong building blocks and holding them tightly. It is about practicing those short sentences until they feel comfortable and natural in your mouth.
Getting comfortable is key.
And most importantly, it is about delivering those blocks with a warm, forgiving smile, accepting that mistakes will happen, and adapting your story to the room you are standing in.
It is about letting your true, wonderful self shine clearly through the new vocabulary.
We are coming to the end of our time together today. Let's take a quick look back at the mountain we just climbed. We started with the terrifying blank page question. Tell me about yourself. We acknowledged the fear, and then, using the fantastic map from the English Cafe, we broke the mountain down into small steps.
We learned how to build our ID card facts, sharing our name, our origin, and navigating the cultural rules of age. We learned how to describe our daily actions without shame, discussing our work, our studies, or our job search.
A master key.
Yes, we use the master key of the verb to have to unlock our inner circle, bringing our family and pets into the light. And finally, we added our unique flavor by sharing our passions, our hobbies, our likes, and the bonding power of our dislikes.
It is not a massive, scary mountain anymore. It is just a collection of small blocks that you can hold in your own hands.
At the very end of the source document, Anna and Leo leave their listeners with an active challenge. We want to pass that same challenge directly to you.
Yes. The guide says, before we leave, we have a challenge for you. Leo tells his listeners to go to the comments section and type their introduction.
Anna gives the prompt, tell us your name, where you are from, and one thing you love.
We want you to take this challenge right now, wherever you happen to be listening. You do not need a computer or a comment section. You can just use your voice, speak it out loud in your living room or in your car, or even just quietly in your own mind. Practice your new introduction right now. State your name clearly, state your origin proudly, and share one thing that brings you joy. Hi, I'm from Schmap. I love.
Take those 3 specific blocks and build your very first small house today.
And as you practice those words, as you feel the English forming in your mouth, I want to leave you with one final thought to ponder. Something to think about after the deep dive ends.
A thought for the future.
Yes. Think about this deeply. When you introduce yourself in your native language, you rely on very old habits. You have old ways of feeling and old patterns of speaking that you have used since childhood. But when you introduce yourself in a new language, using these fresh, simple, positive building blocks, do you actually feel like a slightly different person?
That is a deeply fascinating concept to explore.
Do you feel like a new, maybe slightly more confident, more open version of yourself? Because in a new language, you get to choose exactly how to build your identity from the ground up, block by carefully chosen block. That blank piece of paper is no longer a scary test. It is an opportunity. You are holding the pen, and you have the power to write a brand new, wonderful story.
That is a truly beautiful and empowering way to view the journey of language learning. It is not just about translating words, it is a chance to rebuild and rediscover yourself.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. We are incredibly proud of the hard work you are doing to learn this language. Keep practicing those building blocks every day.
Remember that small mistakes are perfectly normal and okay. And always remember the golden rule of communication.
Keep smiling. Your smile is your best vocabulary word. We will meet you right here again soon for another deep dive. Goodbye, everyone.